This is Who's That Driver, episode 28. We're very much so into the off season now as far as sim racing goes for a lot of people. There was a stream I saw over the weekend for FTF Racing Leagues. They used to be an NR 2003 league. Now they have been for a few years now an iRacing league. I heard some news a while ago that they would not be running a series full-time next year due to life events, stuff like that. Everyone's really busy over there on their admin staff. And they did a full-length 267-lap race at Homestead. I saw it was streamed by iRacing's main channel Saturday night. Little cool thing I guess they let them do since Justin Malillo works for iRacing. And it was a really good finish. They were running Gen 4 cars, and it was pretty cool to know that I was kind of like a small part back when they were an NR 2003 league. I wasn't good back then, but I at least got to race in what was one of the most popular sim racing leagues over 11 years. So Justin probably won't see this, but I just want to say thanks to Justin for hosting a very fun competitive league. It was very toxic at times, but it just kind of comes with the territory of sim racing. But overall, it was a very well put together league. Justin put a lot of effort into managing it. And our guest tonight is another person who has put a lot of effort into running his league, and that is Benjamin Snyder. Ben, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right. Maverick season just wrapped up. How'd that finale go Tuesday?
It went amazing. Congratulations to Jack Merkel on winning the championship for 2025 for the HVRL Maverick Cup Series. And congratulations to everybody who took the green flag this year. We had 117 drivers start a race this year.
Wow, right on. Was that a record, or is that like close to last year's total?
I don't think it beat last year's, but getting this many drivers to show up for a race is incredible after 22 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, over a full season to have that many names attend at least one race. I mean, most leagues, they're lucky if they can get like 40, 50 guys over a full, like, say, 3-4 month season. So to get 117 people from, what is it, like March to this month, November?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean that's really good, man. Congrats to you getting that many people to show up for the league, and of course, congrats to Jack. Jack's a great rival of mine. Had him on the show back in episode 10. Was a great talk, and we'll see if he doesn't want to run it full time again next year. I know he said he's kind of torn from what I've been talking to him. He says he kind of wants to run full time because he likes running Maverick, but he also kind of wants to maybe run part time and see who will go get it next year. But have we had a different champion every year, Ben, for the league?
We've had no multi-time champions yet.
Okay, what's our champion list right now?
The inaugural champion back in 2021 was Mike Panciocco, and then 2022 Todd Wilson, and then Keith Hughes in 2023, then Nick Gunther in 2024, and now the reigning champion Jack Merkel.
Wow, who was that first one from 2021 again? Mike who?
Panciocco. I don't know if you've raced with him.
Yeah, I've never heard the name. I've heard of Todd, obviously. I know I raced with Todd a little bit in 2023. But yeah, I had never heard of Mike. Do you know where else he races at?
He came from Maniac Racing, which is owned by Joe Bishop, who
Okay.
doesn't race much anymore.
I feel like I've heard of Joe's name floating around here and there, but carry on.
Joe Bishop is who helped provide the race server and TeamSpeak server that were used in the very first year of the Maverick Cup Series.
Did those guys race at all in 2022, or did they kind of just really help you get off the ground running in 2021?
They kind of helped us get off the ground. A couple of them made one-off starts at the beginning of 2022. We did use Joe's server for 2022. Then we got an RLM server in 2023, and then transitioned to the server we're using now, which is owned by Keith Hughes, who basically acts as my right-hand man for running the series and the league.
Gotcha. Yeah, Keith's done a lot. I've seen. I think Keith started helping you. Was it end of 2023 or was it early 2024? But he's him and Tate have been doing some stuff for you.
They started working behind the scenes a few months into 2023, and then became official admins in 2024.
Right on. And they've done a great job with the tracks and the setups and stuff. I mean, I know Kansas this year. Part of the reason I showed up for Kansas was I was like, ooh, we ran that version at Mondays of Thunder, and I was like, it might be the same setup, and I came out to race, and I was like, oh yeah, it feels like the same setup from MOT, so I had a blast because I knew what it was going to be like. Some guys in my team room, they weren't too happy about how tight it was, but I was like, it's fine. It was still pretty racy.
You got to have the right setup when you have such a diverse group of drivers of many different skill levels in there.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want it to be on the loose side because some guys at Maverick, they're beginners and they can't really handle the loose. So you want it to be at least snug, maybe a little loose for the experienced guys when the tires are cold, but generally you definitely want it to be snug because you never know like who's going to show up, what their experience level is.
Car counts too.
Oh yeah, it helps if there's a lot of cars on the track. That it helps having a tighter setup too, because then less chance of losing it and less chance of wadding up half the field.
Yes, and our car counts this year ranged from 20 at Martinsville and Phoenix to 71 in the season opener at Daytona.
And was there like a B main this year, or is that a plan for next year for those that don't make the main event?
We did do a B main this year, and we may actually be adding to it for 2026. We're looking at adding a C main.
It's like a dirt event if you get that many people.
Yes.
Always good to have the plan in place, like if you do get 100 people to set a lap, or at least like 90 to set a lap, you obviously you have your main big field. If you have 60 people go home, you can probably split it in half, do two 30-car events, or do B main full field and do a 20-car C main, however you're thinking of doing it.
Well, for 2025, we had the top 28 on speed make the main race, and then 4 provisionals, and then everybody else won in the B main.
Okay, so was it 8 cars that made it from the B main, or was it 10? Because I know broadcasters have to take up spots, so 8?
It was 8.
Okay. Do you
And
think you might do something similar next year?
yes, except the next 32 fastest that aren't locked in would be locked into the B main, and then everybody else would race in the C main to take the last 8 spots in the B main.
Oh, okay, yeah, so definitely dirt track style.
Absolutely.
There was an old PC game. I played it a little bit on one of my laptops like 10 years ago. It was Dirt Track Racing 2, and it was set up like straight up like a dirt weekend. You had like A main, B main, C main. There was D main, and I forget if the like big events in the game had an E main or not, but you basically had to race. If you qualified poorly, you had to race your way up through the mains to keep racing throughout the weekend.
Alphabet soup.
Yeah, alphabet soup. Well, so to talk about the current previous season here, 2025 season, what would you say your as a driver and then as an admin, what would you say your like 2 favorite races were? So like what was your favorite race to drive in, and then I guess what was your favorite race to go back and watch on stream?
My favorite race to go back and watch on stream, probably probably the 500, and then Sonoma.
Sonoma. Oh yeah, I loved that one. That was a real fun run.
Yeah, it had 0 cautions.
That's why I loved it. No cautions, all the fun.
Yes, and that's part of why I think racing on road courses is a good way to develop drivers for the HVRL Maverick Cup Series, because I think road courses are our best product.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because everyone gets spread out. Everyone gets to learn, how they need to approach each corner. So, and then they also have to manage, if they got a fast guy like Jack, coming up behind them, you know, they don't want to race him too hard because you gotta pick and choose your battle. So like if there's a battle for ninth and 10th, and say Jack had a problem and he fell back, if you're in 10th, if it were me and I was slow enough to where Jack was going to get me, I would probably let Jack go and then use Jack as a way to get by the guy in ninth so I could get ninth. So that's like something that guys can learn when they do road course racing. But like as you said too, like it's a good way to um, develop the talent because you get more spread out. It's better for racecraft developing.
Absolutely, and we are putting a big emphasis on road course racing in all of our series at HVRL.
And what kind of tracks are we looking at for next year between Cup? Are we still doing West? And then I know you have, I think, another series you were planning to do.
We have two new series debuting in 2026. The North Series, think Busch North,
Hmm.
and a road course only series known simply as the RC Series.
Okay, and what kind of tracks are we looking at for some of those?
Well, West is going to be all tracks on the West Coast. Think tracks like Kern, Colorado National Speedway, Evergreen. We're also going to be running for road courses Portland and Laguna Seca, and we will have the combination events at Las Vegas, Sonoma, and Phoenix.
Okay, and how about North?
North will run mostly stuff in New England with some Mid Atlantic tracks mixed in, with North running tracks like Stafford, Thompson, Monadnock, Thunder Road. And then for road courses, we're running Lime Rock and we're also running New Jersey.
Ooh, fun.
And we will have combo races for North and Cup as well at Dover, Loudon, and Watkins Glen.
Right on. And what's the road course series looking like between tracks and what kind of mod are we thinking?
The plan right now is for the RC series to use the BR15 mod like the other series, and it will run tracks that are not being used by any other series.
Okay, so you're gonna have some fun options. Maybe like a Road Atlanta or maybe like Sebring or something like that. Maybe something international.
For international tracks, we have Canadian Tire, and you mentioned Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta is actually going to be the season finale for that series.
Ooh, fun.
And we're going to be bringing back a couple of tracks. Cup doesn't race that anymore. Canadian Tire and Mid Ohio, and some other new venues are coming. We're running the Daytona Road Course, Coda, Charlotte Roval, Barber. Um, VIR is going to be on the schedule.
Ooh, VIR. Yeah, want to talk about a challenging track. VIR is up there.
So these lower series are meant to develop mostly drivers who are completely inexperienced that have never raced on any online um platform. And so the West Series will cater mostly to people from the West Coast. The North Series will cater primarily to people from the Northeast, just like the real life Winston West and Busch North Series. The RC Series will cater mostly to people who race in series that run primarily road courses. We're going to try and get a lot of Australia, New Zealand folks on board because that is a weekend series and would be much more time friendly to Australian and New Zealand drivers.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because there are a few out there that run the game. There is a member in Bomb Squad. We call him Aussie Bill. He's in Australia. Tough for him to race. We run the typical 9 p.m. Eastern qualifying over at Bomb Squad, and he'll come in maybe on like a weekend race or something because it's so early uh, in the morning for them when we go to race. I forget the exact time, but I think it's somewhere around like 3 to 4 in the morning. It might actually be
You might be
midday.
thinking,
Might be more
yeah,
midday.
midday in Australia.
Okay, yeah.
So late morning, early afternoon on a Sunday for Australia.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about when, you're sitting here at like 8 o'clock at night on the East Coast, and Australia's already at like whatever time it is Saturday afternoon. Like they've already pretty much gone to the next day. Or they are on the next day, rather. It's weird where
Yes,
it's
they are on the
funny.
next day.
It's interesting where the line is for time zone and stuff like that.
Yes, and we have currently one driver from Australia and one from New Zealand who race in the Cup Series.
Oh, right on. If their schedule allows it, all power for them to show up. It's nice to see people from different countries. I know obviously we have a big South American demographic. There's a few from Central America too, I believe. So, it's a good demographic here on this side of the hemisphere.
Yes, and I would love to expand our international crowd for 2026, get more international viewership, butts in seats.
All right. Well, so let's go a little further back. We'll wind the clock back here. And before we go more into NR 2003 stuff, let's just talk about what got you into motorsports to begin with. So like basically, you know, three-part question is what got you into motorsports, and who your first favorite driver was, and additional question to that is who it is now, if it's changed. Guys retire, and then your favorite form of motorsports.
Well, what got me into motorsports is the movie Cars back in 2006. Simple as that. And then, so I was just a young, uh, I wasn't even 3 when the movie came out. Um, and then, within a year, I started watching the real races on TV. My parents would turn them on, and um, my favorite driver early on when I was in elementary school was Carl Edwards because my parents wanted me to root for a Ford driver. My grandpa and great grandpa both worked for Ford, and I liked his backflip.
Oh yeah, that's a good reason. The backflip.
Yes, I always look forward to seeing Carl Edwards do the backflip. And I also liked Kyle Busch back then because he had such colorful paint schemes and had another unique winning tradition with the bow. Um, so now moving on, nowadays my favorite drivers are the ones who are different from everybody else, the ones who are diverse. Drivers like Bubba Wallace, Shane Van Gisbergen, Catherine Legge.
Oh, Catherine Legg, that's an interesting one.
Absolutely. Great to see another female driver in the sport. I always love to see them get representation. Um, and I'm hoping Bubba Wallace can win the Daytona 500 soon.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be real sick. I think he'll do it. Yeah, I mean, he's great at the plate tracks.
He's gotten second in the 500 before, but I've always had a soft spot for Denny Hamlin and would love to see him win a title.
Next year could be the last chance. Well, we'll have to see what happens.
I
For,
don't think he's going to retire in 2026. I think it'll be 2027. I think he's got 2 more years left in him, but I'd love to see him win a title before he retires.
yeah, right on. I would too. I really wanted to see him win it this year. Kind of got ripped out from under him there right at the end, which was unfortunate. You know, but that's racing. It happens, and I'll hopefully the format changes slightly for next year. I know they're still talking about it. Haven't really heard any updates, but I would assume that they would want everyone to know what the plan is by either the end of December or like first week of January, I would think.
Absolutely. And personally, they should take notes from us here at the HVRL.
Full season.
Latford points, the best point system.
So the old system from like 2005, 2003.
Yeah, 2003. The base NR 2003 point system. Can't
Mm.
beat it.
Yeah, it's a really good system, you know. Good
And that's the year I was born.
2003.
Yes,
All right on. Yeah, good year to be born. There was
absolutely.
a lot of good music came out in 2003. You know, I'm a bit of a music guy, so a lot of good music came out in 2003. I was 6 years old, so.
Yes, and I actually am a musician myself. I'm an avid drummer. I prefer classic rock from like the 60s, 70s, 80s. So Eagles, Beach Boys, Toto, Doobie Brothers. There's other artists like ABBA, and I also do stuff from Broadway musicals like Grease, Hairspray.
Oh wow, you drum a little bit?
Yes, you should see the video I posted on Facebook last year of my drum cover of Toto's song Pamela.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Might have to check that out.
Hoping to do more of those soon.
Oh heck yeah, keep doing them. Yeah, if you enjoy doing them, keep going. But so Edwards, you know, and then Kyle Busch, and now you said Leg, SVG, and Bubba. Anybody in the lower levels that have piqued your interest?
Well, I really wish somebody like Zach Heron would make it up to Cup.
Is he a ARCA driver or a local driver?
He's run ARCA.
I can't say I've heard the name before.
Um, Devin Rouse, who's running the trucks,
That's another new
is
one.
another one.
Anybody in trucks or Xfinity? Or I guess O'Reilly now? That's gonna take
Well,
me a minute.
I just mentioned Devin Rouse, who ran some dirt races in trucks.
Okay, so he ran the dirt ones, Knoxville.
Yes. I think he ran it twice.
Okay,
But if someone like him or Zach Heron could make it to Cup, that would be incredible to see another barrier broken.
right on. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of talent in the lower series, but there's only so many spots in Cup, O'Reilly, trucks. But
They need to get rid of the charter system.
oh, yeah. Why do you think they need to get rid of it?
It would allow more rookies the chance to move up to Cup. It would allow some of these ones in ARCA to bypass trucks and go straight to O'Reilly. ABC, ARCA Busch Cup. That's how it should be. Trucks should be the veteran-led series.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can get behind
I grew
that.
up watching Ron Hornaday and Matt Crafton and Mike Skinner all duke it out in the trucks, and Todd Bodine.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, I mean, mid 2000s to late 2000s, you know, it was all those guys, Hornaday, like you said, Skinner. Forget if Sprague had already retired by then. Crafton,
I don't
obviously.
remember Sprague,
Yeah, I think Sprague might have retired by then.
but you did have rookies coming
Benson,
into trucks.
you got Benson in there. You had
There were a whole bunch, and you had rookies in trucks too.
oh yeah, absolutely. I remember for Roush, what was
Colin
his name?
Braun,
Not Colin Braun, the other one,
Eric Darnell.
Eric Darnell. Yeah, Eric Darnell.
Yeah, I remember him more from what was then the Nationwide series when he split the six with David Reagan.
Yeah, he was pretty good in trucks. He never really made it after that. He was I don't think he just couldn't figure out the nationwide cars at the time or what the dealio was.
Yeah,
But but
but
yeah, him and then of course Edwards, you know, did some truck racing. Yeah, that's why
well,
you had guys like Edwards and Kurt Busch who, you know, went to trucks and then they skipped Busch and went to Cup.
yeah, and that was pretty common early on if you were from the West Coast, because a lot of the old truck drivers that came in the beginning, like Rick Corelli, they had
Mhm.
raced in Winston West.
Okay.
And so that was kind of an intermediate level between Winston West and Winston Cup.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because Winston West would have been more like a ARCA level, and then trucks, then Cup versus obviously Bush probably ran more East Coast and was, you had either Bush North and ARCA or, you know, Bush North ARCA to Bush to Cup.
And if you're from the Northeast, you probably started in wheel and modifieds, and
Yep.
probably still do.
Yeah, modifieds is another big one. Guys like Priest, Steve Park came from the modifieds.
Justin Bonsignor.
Yep, Justin Bonsignor. I'm trying to think of another older one. I can't say I can remember like another older one other than Steve Park. But there have been some around. There
I know.
there was one
Um,
driver I was listening on Door Bumper Clear. I forget if it was one of Freddie's buddies or whatever. I think it was Tony Hirschman Jr. Tried to do like some Bush races and it never really just didn't really pan out. So he went back to
I know.
modifieds and then ended up spotting, I think. Go ahead.
I know Mike Olson did a cup race one time.
Huh, okay. I don't
I don't know
know
if he
that
did
name.
modifies, but I know he was a top driver in Bush North,
That's
and he
cool.
ran the 32 car in 2012 at the second Loudon race.
Okay, it's a Go Fast racing car?
Back when it was fast lane racing,
Oh, Fast Lane Racing. Yep.
before Frank Stoddard teamed up with Archie St. Hilaire.
You got a lot of info that you remember, huh, Ben?
Absolutely. I always love seeing the unique drivers show up. And that's part of why I liked watching the road courses growing up, is seeing all these road course ringers. Boris Said, Ron Fellows. Um,
Yeah, I remember that. I loved seeing the road course guys come out. Robbie Gordon was like one of the first ones. One of the older ones was Herschel McGriff, who ran, the Winston West stuff. He was up there
well,
in age too. He was an
I
older
wouldn't
guy.
necessarily say he was a road course ringer because, up until 1997, Sonoma was a Winston Cup and Winston West combo race. So those weren't road course ringers, most of those other drivers you'd see. Those were Winston
Mm-hmm.
West regulars racing for points in that series
Oh, okay.
because they always did combo races.
That's like when in the 70s, 60s and 70s they ran at Riverside, right? You had a guy like Ray
Correct.
Elder. Ray Elder was one of the big ones that was really good. Never went full-time cup, just did the West combo races at Riverside and I think he did some at Ontario too when they had Ontario out there in California.
Yep. And then, of course, of the real ringers, there's Brian Semo. I know Tommy Kendall was before my time.
Yep, Tommy Kendall was 90s.
Yep. Irv Hare was early 90s. That's another one that was before my time.
Yeah, I remember.
But there's some other interesting ones that came in. Matthias Ekstrom, Jan Magnuson,
Huh.
Andy Pilgrim ran a cup race in 2011.
Yeah, I remember Pilgrim vaguely. You had I think Jack Villeneuve ran a few races too at one point in Xfinity, if I'm not mistaken.
He did some cup. I think he tried to make the Daytona 500 in 2008.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. I'm losing my touch of remembering all the names that have touched certain events. You got a much better grasp of it than me.
Yeah. I don't remember if he did for sure, but if he did, he failed to qualify.
Back mid 2000s was when they still got like about 50 people every year for the 500. So you would always have 7 or more guys going home. It's crazy
I
though
remember.
if you look at the old races and like the in the 80s, they would get like 70, 80 people for the 500 and they had like almost full dual fields.
Wow. 2007 had 61.
Yeah, it might have been the last really big year. Right before they went to the car tomorrow. I feel like once they went to the car tomorrow, the cost jumped. And then obviously they jumped again with Gen 6, and now they've jumped again with the Gen 7. And of course, as you said, the charters have kind of put a damper on trying to run as an open car for the 500 too. We saw a bit of a surge this year with this year's 500, but it's tough.
the charter system has ruined the big fields for the 500, in my opinion. I mean, like when I was younger, like 2008, 2009, 2010, you were still getting over 50 drivers. Like 2009, you had 57 cars trying to make the 500.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
There are also a lot
changed.
of there are also a lot of startup teams around this time.
Yeah, it's true too. Yeah, you had Furniture
Tommy
Row,
Baldwin.
Tommy Baldwin, Front Row, Michael
The front row
Waltrip.
had been around since 2005, I think.
Oh, had they really?
Yeah,
Huh.
they ran the 92.
Oh, that's why I don't remember them because I remember them more from when they got they started running the 38 and then the 34 later.
No, they didn't run 38 until 2010. 34 was the number they started running in 2006.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like I don't really remember them much until they started running those numbers.
Those numbers in the 30s.
They liked 35, I think, for a time too, and then they kind of moved away from it.
Yeah, they had. I know they ran 26 at one point as well.
Yeah, they ran all kinds of
2012.
stuff. A lot of those teams, before they really got an idea of what, having a identity meant to them, they were running like all kinds of different numbers.
Yeah, and something else I miss is seeing consistent paint schemes on a regular basis.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
That's part of why we're putting a limit in the Maverick Cup series is to help people run one or two schemes most of the year, so we can get these schemes to become recognizable.
Makes it easier for the broadcast team too, if you can just spot the scheme, spot the driver by the paint scheme, like you don't have to worry about second guessing it. If it's the same paint scheme and you get used to seeing that paint scheme, oh yeah, that's Jack Merkel. And the good thing about Jack, at least, is Jack would run the same base. Like it's this, all the Gordon cars ran that same flame base. That's what helped keep his brand, recognizable from week to week because you knew what design to look for. It might be different colors, but you knew what design to look for.
And
Um,
those bright yellow numbers.
yes, and those
Then
two.
like with me, I'm running for all but 3 races a purple number 7 car. I'm gonna have a slightly updated look for 2026 because my team's using a new number font.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. I'm tired. Been a long day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get back into NR side of things for you. So when did you get into NR?
Well, I discovered NR 2003 back when I was probably 8 or 9. I scrolled through Sim Racing Design and Mass Graphics, which are two great sites with lots of amazing content back in the day. I was 12 when I got my own copy of the game, an original copy. And then when I was 15, I started racing online in a few different leagues that were all getting smaller car counts, like single digits for the most part.
What kind of leagues were these that you were showing up to? The names of them?
Um, I remember you and I raced in APRS back in early 2019,
Okay.
and also raced in ISRL and R&R.
I feel like I've heard of R&R from different people, but I don't remember who like ran it.
Sean Fay.
Oh, that's right. I never ran.
Yeah,
That's
because
why I never ran R&R. It's because Sean Fay was running it.
yeah, and uh, they were in lockstep with ISRL back then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I remember that partnership.
Yes, and then I had the mission eventually to create a large scale league. That was my ultimate goal, is to become a league owner one day and create a large scale league. I got my own wheel, a Logitech G29 that I still use back in mid 2020. We got two of them because I wanted to get my dad to try online racing.
And what do you think your dad has thought of the online racing? I know he is maybe a little more casual about it than you are. Sometimes he's just kind of out there, but how does he feel about it?
He's there to support me.
Oh, right on. Great dad right there.
and he is a good driver on certain tracks. He's not that great on road courses, but he's amazing on super speedways. Like, not to the level of some of the guys that come over from places like RTG, but he's a solid super speedway racer compared to other tracks.
Mm-hmm. Well, the super speedways are also a great track for beginners in terms of at least just kind of getting used to the wheel and the pedals, because you don't really have to do much braking, unless you're trying to miss a wreck. Which at that point you gotta learn how to use the brake there, because you don't want to just days of thunder it. We've had a lot of excuse me, as you've seen, Jack has really excuse me, Jack has really cracked down on the lack of braking into accidents these last few months since he became a part of your team.
Absolutely. I do not like seeing people have ARCA brakes.
Right, it's for ARCA, not for a Cup Series. It's for ARCA.
Shouldn't even be for ARCA.
So what drew you to running the 7? Because I know you've been running the 7. Have you been running the 7 for a few years, or has it just been recently? I feel like you used to run something else.
Um, Early on, I ran the 04 because my second cousin, Carly Snyder, she's a professional volleyball player now, but she played for University of Florida, which is where I take online classes now. And she wore the number 4, so I had a 0 in front, and I was the 04 before I started running the Maverick Cup series. The first season of Maverick Cup, I was the 51, then I ran the 28 for 1 year, then the 22 for a couple years. This is the first year, 2025, that I've run the 7. And I've run other numbers in other leagues. I've run 85, 99. Um, I've run 92, 50, 050.
Yeah,
But
you can run all
for
kinds of stuff, right? Yeah, I remember. Now that you jog my memory, I remember you used to run 22 a little bit.
yeah, that was in 2023 and 24 before I switched to the 7.
Well, I think Michael Norman was happy you made the switch, because I think he loves running 22.
Well, at least this year, because he's got the 30 next year.
Oh, oh yeah, he's running the 30 because of Cletus. He's
Yep,
switching his
but
allegiance.
I'm running the 7 in honor of the great Alan Kolicki, who, like me, was an owner driver and a bachelor.
I didn't know
And
that.
so, yeah, I've never been afraid of being a bachelor
Well, I
like
meant Alan.
Kolicki.
I didn't know Alan was a bachelor. I thought he had married, honestly.
No, he was a bachelor his entire life.
Oh wow.
And I've chosen to embrace the fact that Alan was a bachelor and that I've been one my entire life too, and I'm running that same number.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
Um, so, I got something really special planned if I do manage to win a race next year. How unlikely it is.
Have you won any of the lower stuff, like a lucky super speedway win here or there, or like what's the best finish you've been able to get?
I got second in a Maverick West race with only 4 cars at Portland this year.
Okay. What about like a bigger field, like maybe 10 or 15 cars?
Well, I think there were like 20 or so cars back in 2022. I don't remember how well I finished, but this was in Fast at Michigan. I was running the number 92, and I stayed out under caution and took the lead.
Oh, this is the race where the server crashed, right?
Yep, and people have started referring to it as Bengate.
Ben Gate. I don't think I've heard anyone call it that. I think you're the first one who's called it that.
Well, you
Maybe I missed the
probably haven't
memo on that.
talked to Keith enough about me
Right. But yeah, you
because
were
he came up with that.
I think this, as the story goes, if I remember correctly, you were really hoping that that would have been the race, right? Kind of like a rain out.
Yes, because it was over halfway done.
All right, but Randall don't do that. Randall's like, oh, we'll just start back up and finish what we got left.
Well, when in the Maverick Cup series, when we have a server crash, if it's not halfway yet, we do try to restart it. But if it's over halfway, that's the race.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
we have stuff in place for the event of a server crash, which is basically like a rain delay. But no, I did not know the server was going to crash. Um, I was planning to pit on the next caution and then hope that the other drivers would pit one more time and lead at the end and win the race naturally.
Right. Yeah, you want to win it naturally. You don't want to win a rain out. That's what Joey Logano's first Cup win was, a rain out, and then he didn't win, I think, for 3 years or so.
Yes, I want my first win to be natural so I can do that something special I have planned.
Oh, I think I have a good idea, but I won't say it out loud. Some people might know. As you said, you're a Kowicki guy, so I think we can kind of gather maybe what that might be, but we don't need to say it out loud.
Yep, because I'm running the 7 and everything.
So,
Um,
so how do you feel each year that Maverick has run? So we've run 5 seasons. What do you feel has been something that you could point out that has improved with each year? Like, what do you feel got better with each season?
well, 2024 was the first year we really had big car counts and DNQs. 2025 is when we started to have our races get much better and our
Mm-hmm.
product heavily improved on road courses and even on some of the 1.5 mile cookie cutters like Vegas and Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously I raced only a little with you guys in 2023, and most of the races were, you'd get like 30 guys or so, and it would take about the first third of the race, maybe first quarter of the race, you wreck out about 10 guys because it was just constant crashing. Then it would start to go green, which was, it was fine, at least in the second half, to be able to go green. But then you had other races where, it was constant crashing. And, I stepped away. I didn't run with you guys last year, but then I came back this year. And I will admit there have been some polls where statistically, from other leagues I've raced over the years, those tracks produce a lot of cautions no matter what the skill level is. But there have been races where I'll vote on the above for the over, and then it ends up being the under, and I'm impressed every time. Like, wow, like they actually had a low caution count at this track. Like, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, actually, you did run one race in 2024.
Oh, Homestead. Well, I don't really count that because the server died 3 times. So I think I
But you
got
still
fed
got
up.
credit for starting the race.
I think I got fed up after the second one. I was like, all right, Keith's game's bugging out tonight. I don't want to keep coming back into the server and figuring out where I'm supposed to be. So I had
And
enough after
so you
that.
basically just dropped out.
Basically,
This year, we only had one server crash.
that's good.
And hopefully next year, it will be 0.
Where was the server crash at this year?
Atlanta.
Huh, interesting.
And because it was before halfway, we refired the server
That's good.
and completed the rest of the race without any problems.
Nice. We'll get into some fun questions. I feel like a lot of the questions I have might not really apply to you too much, so I'm gonna pick and choose a little bit here. Um, what's a moment between you and myself you can recall? Either on track or
Probably
just related to the league.
me ordering your hat for your Chicagoland win.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still got it. It's in my closet. I think
Yeah,
I've worn it a few
I was
times.
I was hoping you'd wear it tonight for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't really. The headphones is hard to put the headphones over the hat. It's a little uncomfortable, but
You know,
it's up there.
um,
I should stick it
but
out on my trophy
probably
shelf. I got a trophy shelf now, and since that's considered like kind of, it was a trophy technically, I should probably stick it out on my shelf.
The hats were something we wanted to do to draw more people in during what was known as the Tuesday night wars between the HVRL Maverick Cup Series, the FTR Fake Maverick, and the ISRL Contender Series.
The fake Maverick. Yeah. I love it. I love it. What would you
Yep.
say the other one was? Hobo?
No, ISRL.
Oh, ISRL. Yeah. Well, yeah. So fix setup. Yeah. So you weren't really
Yeah,
concerned about competing with an open setup league because it's a different environment.
and I think it's invite only too.
Yeah. Well, you can inquire, but yeah, they have like they're a little
They pick
more
and choose.
yeah, they're a little more picky about who they let in. It might change a little bit next year, maybe not too much. Um, I think a lot of those guys they do like who they race with every week to be about the same as it's been for years, but they like to bring in a new face or so here and there. So, but yeah, it's open setup, so it's a different world. They had Noah Wetzel was over there racing, and he was like 1 second or so off at almost every track he ran at because he has never done open setup before. They were giving him good tips and stuff during practice, but he was just, so inexperienced to a group of guys that have done so much open setup racing over like 5, 10 years or more. You can't help but be that far off. Plus, I think Noah's still pretty new, from what I've seen of him in Maverick. But everyone gets better with time.
I'm still not that great, and I've raced for several years.
Do you feel like do you have the broadcast on in the background when you race? Do you have anything that like prevents you from focusing on the race, or does it just always feel like a
Not
bit of a lot going on?
not really. Often if we get multiple cautions early on, I'll sometimes drop out and be an off-track admin for the rest of the race.
Mm-hmm. So what do you feel like you struggle with that is holding you back?
I don't know. I'm hoping to get more practice during the off season with staying on track longer, and um, I'm hoping I can finish at least 50% of the races next year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so just keep going until your car doesn't fire anymore. You just keep going, and you might get severe engine damage at some point. Just you've been lapped a bunch. Like you just do your best to not get in the leader's way and cause problems, and you just keep riding because the more you ride, the more you'll get used to driving.
Yes, and I have finished on the lead lap before, both inside and outside of the HVRL Maverick Cup Series. Uh, that fast race I was talking about earlier when the server crashed, I did end up finishing on the lead lap that night,
Right on.
and I have finished on the lead lap in Maverick Cup before, 2021 at Homestead and 2022 at Phoenix, the race where Steven Merzlak rode the wall.
Oh boy, yeah, classic right there.
Hashtag believe in Steve.
What do you feel like the biggest race you've been a part of is outside of your league?
I don't know. Um, Probably the 2023 Fast Season Opener at Daytona.
Okay. Do you remember how you fared in that one? If you were able to finish or if you crashed out at some point?
I finished, and I actually entered a second car for that race.
Oh, who was on the second car?
My dad.
Did he end up making the race? Did he run?
There were no DNQs,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he got the run.
so both BSR cars made the field.
It's funny hearing you call it BSR because it's Benjamin Snyder Racing. It's
Yet
funny.
not be confused with the longtime league bomb squad racing.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to field two full-time cars again in 2026 and maybe bring out a third or even a fourth car at some races next year.
Who would potentially drive those cars? Would it be someone from outside the family, or would you be trying to get another family member to give it a go?
Well, in the past we've had NASCAR Truck Series driver Mike Seneca do some races with us, so maybe bring him back and run the 57 car, and maybe we'll have a local Mexican driver run the Mexico City race next year because that's coming back to the schedule.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Um, but that's probably going to be an all-star car with a rotation of drivers. Well, both of those with the 57 and the 50.
Gotcha. Would you say has there been anybody in the community that has been like a good mentor, like someone you can like look up to and learn from, other than maybe say Keith or Tate, who's come in to help run your league?
Probably Todd Wilson.
Okay. Is there any special lesson that Todd has told or taught you?
Well, he gave me a open setup to use for an open setup race once that was used by his mentor and his mom's cousin, who raced for a long time, Autry Waits, aka Sunday Trip, who I never raced with.
Okay. What happened? When did Autry pass away? I know you guys hold the memorial every year. Obviously, I
Uh,
never raced with them either, so.
Autry died in 2021. We did the Autry Memorial for a couple years. We didn't do it this year, but um, because the 2024 race had a lot of yellows, and so we discontinued that race at HVRL. But ASR sometimes does something for him.
And he ran a unique number, right? What was that number he ran again?
416.
416. It's quite the number choice. Usually you see people
He,
run either like a 088 or like a 124 or something like that, but you never really see people go uh, further past that. I know Dan Lovell liked to run 388 back in the day, but I never really saw many people go past uh, the 100s.
well, there's a few who do that I've raced with. Um, Grant Wesley normally runs the 88 at RTG. He's run some races with us at Maverick Cup, and he ran the 888 because uh, 088 was taken by Greg Lovell.
Right, yeah, Greg is the one I usually see run the 088.
Yep, or Tim Nofsker at RTG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the RTG guys go into the triple digits. I think because they've done it for years. They just got used to
Yep,
running the triple digit number instead of actually running the single or double digit number they wanted.
yep, but we do overrule in the HVRL that you must have all three digits on the car if you're running three digit.
Hmm.
You can make one of the digits smaller, but it's got to be on there.
Right, right.
There's a few others who regularly run triple digits. I know Matt McIntyre's run 738.
Oh yeah, Matt. Yeah, I always forget about. I should remember Matt. I've raced with Matt a lot. 738. Yeah, I feel like Bob Seminara has run 512 a few times. I want to say
712.
712. That's right, 712.
John Godfrey 711. RJ Cabana 889. Robert Breedlove 931.
Hmm.
There's a few out there that
You
run
saying them,
numbers.
you saying them brings it back to my memory. Like, yeah, I've seen them run those numbers before.
And we've had other ones within the Maverick Cup series. Like we had uh, Fran Gomez from Spain ran the 222 last year.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, 222.
Yep. But the 416. So part of the deal for the Autry Waits Memorial being held by HVRL for 2 years was that we retired the number, and we still have it retired.
Right. It's speaking of retired numbers with leagues, Bomb Squad has numbers that they've retired. Obviously, guys that have passed away. Um, obviously, Robbie Nisus is one with the 54 RTG retired his number 2.
Yep.
RTG's got a lot of retired numbers from all their members from over the years. Bomb Squad, but Bomb Squad does have a few. Obviously, between Bomb Squad and Fast, they have the 03 retired unless Hezi Hardy wants to run it. Then Hezi
Yep.
is
They
like
have
the
a
only one who can run the 03.
well, HVRL. We actually had somebody come in run the 03 this year because the team that he pit crews for in ARCA runs the number.
Mm.
Club Racing Incorporated runs that number, and so he runs the 03 with the exact same paint scheme.
As the ARCA car?
Yes.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Bring the car from real life to the game.
Yep, and we actually did that back in 2024 for another driver who actually failed to qualify for the Fun Coast 500 that year.
Dang. Well, that stinks.
You're not going to believe this, but Willie Mullins attempted to make the race.
Okay. He's an ARCA guy?
Yeah, he won the pole in the Daytona ARCA race in 2024 and then failed to qualify for our race.
Well, as you
I
know,
couldn't believe it.
all the cars are the same on the game versus real life, so it's a lot closer. I mean, I remember seeing the lap times for the Fun Coast 500 this year, and I was like, holy cannoli, they are really close.
Yes, and some big names missed the field. We had a couple of ARCA teams enter that with crew members that didn't qualify. I know Brad Smith entered a car for Noah Wetzel, who works for that team, and didn't qualify. And Tim Goulet Jr., whose dad owns Rise Motorsports, also DNQ'd. And then some other stalwarts of the series, Mike Carroll failed to qualify.
I feel like, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I was shocked that he DNQ'd for both Daytona races because he's normally pretty good on those tracks when he makes the field, but
When you have a lot of super speedway guys come out, especially like the RTG guys come out, those RTG guys, they mainly run nothing but super speedway, so they're very used to holding a steady wheel when it comes to qualifying, so it makes them, that couple of hundredths or tenth, that 1-2 tenths faster on qualifying. And if you're that 1 to 2 tenths off, you end up being outside the top 30, top 32, whatever it be.
yeah, Denny Carroll had to race his way in through the B main.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then drivers like, of course, Greg Palmer made the field. But you bring all these drivers from across the community together that you don't usually see racing together, like RTG drivers, drivers from newer Gen Z, predominant leagues like Fuel, and then, of course, all the South American guys. Put all these people together, and you see who's really the best of the best.
Yeah.
It would be cool to see some old drivers that raced several years ago come out of retirement for some of the big races like the 500 to maybe they've still got it. I mean, Matt Kemp, I got him out of retirement back in 2023, and he also did some ARCA racing that year. He raced NR back in the mid to late 2010s, and he came back to run Maverick Cup, did one race at Talladega, and ran pretty well.
Yeah, I remember when Matt ran at FTF for a little bit.
Yeah, he expressed interest in doing some Maverick Cup races, pending availability.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool seeing some guys come back, at least give the game a quick touch, and then, they carry back on with what they got going on, But that's
It's iRacing or racing in real life, and I've done some real life racing. I've done some go-kart league racing down at the Orlando Kart Center in their karting league.
Oh, really? Nice.
Times.
How have you done in that?
I've been a back marker.
Well, you're not hitting the walls or anything, right?
No, I'm just
kind of there.
I'm just kind of there.
But you're
at the back, and
yeah, running your own pace. We call it running your own pace.
Yep, I'm not a starting park.
How many laps do they run in the go-kart races?
It's actually timed. It's like 30 minutes.
30 minutes? Okay.
So it's not number of laps, but um, unlike the HVRL Maverick Cup series.
So would you say the Gen 6 BR15 mod is your favorite mod on the game, or is there another mod that you don't run at Maverick that you think is your favorite?
BR15 is my favorite mod of all time. First mod I've ever painted for. Um, and there's so many great manufacturer templates. Like, think about it. I run a Kia.
I was gonna say, is that your favorite template, the Kia template?
Well, I run whatever my family owns in real life, so
So you've been running Fords lately, right? Or no, you are running the Kia. I
we used to
forget
run
now.
Fords, but then decided to switch to Kia when I found the Kia template.
Nice. So what real life Kia does your family own?
The Sedona minivan.
The minivan? Okay. I have a Sorento. I've been a Kia person since 2018. They're really nice cars.
Yep. When I was in Colorado this summer for a live reality game, we had we had to get two different rental cars because we had to stay an extra night. Um, because our flight got delayed, and both times we got a Kia Telluride, as and I say the Kia Telluride is the hottest ride in town. At least that's what the Kia dealer says.
Yeah, they're nice. They're a
Well, because
little bigger than the Sorento.
it's like it's a 3-row SUV.
Right, but it's bigger.
It's kind of a mixture of the Sorrento and what my family has, the Sedona.
Yeah, so the Telluride's a 3 row, but they classify it as a large SUV. The Sorrento is like a midsize, but it's like at the biggest level of the midsize because it's just just big enough to fit the third row of seats. So you don't really have much trunk space in the Sorrento unless you put the rear seats down, which I have mine down. There's really never more than maybe two people, maybe three people in my car, so I have the third row down.
Yep, when my family travels, it's just three of us. We've had at times of four, as many as five when we drive with my grandparents, or seven when we had my grandparents and, say, another extended relative in town.
Right. What would you say your favorite track on the game is?
I don't know. There's so many good ones. I can answer that for iRacing. There's three on iRacing: Lime Rock, Laguna Seca, and Olton Park. But for NR, probably Daytona, probably Michigan, obviously, because I almost won there. And then for a road course, I'd say the Long Sonoma is really good. That or Road America.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good choices. Um, what about favorite physics type? Cup physics?
Cup Physics, hands down. We run them on everything, even super speedways.
Ooh, that can be brutal for developing a run. You gotta spend like 2-3 laps developing the run on cup physics. Unless you run a different chassis from chassis one. Have you ever considered running a different chassis type for the super speedway race as an experiment? Running like maybe like 3 or 0.
We may have to do a test in the off season to test the different chassis to see what works.
Chassis 0 is really fun, but it's also hard for people to control. Because so chassis 0 was technically made for dirt, but so the tires don't heat up at all unless you really crank up the tire heat in the track INI. But
So if we decide to run Knoxville one year, we'd use chassis 0.
you could use chassis 0 or chassis 3. Um,
What's chassis 3?
Chassis 3 is for short tracks. So any flat track, like your New Hampshire would use chassis 3. Your Martinsville would
Indy?
use chassis 3. Indy would use chassis 3. It's basically anything below a certain banking threshold. It's less like it's less so the short track chassis and more so it's like tracks below a certain banking threshold or how they drive. Like Phoenix, you run chassis 3. But like Dover has a lot of banking, so you would run chassis 2 like you would at um, like Charlotte, Texas. You'd run chassis 2, and then road course is chassis 4 all the time.
Yep. And then what about for like super speedways if you're running cup physics?
Super speedways is generally chassis one, but so that's why I say it's kind of boggy in cup, and it's hard to generate the runs. But if you run super speedways in CTS chassis one, you get big runs and stuff like that, and that's why like a lot of like RTG and stuff, they run nothing but CTS for their super speedway series because you can actually generate a run easier and whatnot. But you can get
Yes.
away with it in cup. You just have to get the right setup and package. Sometimes you could mess with the weather. Maybe you could try like clear 60 or something, clear 40, so you can add a little more tape, so you can get more runs with more tape. But if you try like a chassis 3 or a chassis 2 on a super speedway, you're gonna go a lot faster than 200. But it'll shake up the racing a little bit. But if you ran chassis 0 on a super speedway, the max speed might go down to only about maybe like 190, 195. But when you're in draft, you get a huge run, like a 7 to 10 mile an hour run when you're in draft. When you're the leader, you're just hitting all the air. You really need help getting pushed. But it makes bump drafting a little more tricky because the cars get so wiggly. But as easy as the cars step out on chassis 0 on like a pavement track, it's also really easy to catch them because the chassis are so gripped up. Um,
Yes.
but so some guys might like it, some guys might hate it. But you would see probably a lot of lead changes because a lot of people would generate a run. But then the second they pull out, if they have no help, it's like hitting a brick wall of air. They'll slow down by like a mile, a half a mile. They'll be back down to like 180 or so. So, but yeah, I would do some tests. Like test out maybe different weather with chassis 1, and then talk to Keith and Tate about maybe trying like chassis 3 or 0, see what they say. They'll have an opinion to give too. They've definitely run it before. So
Would would chassis 0, since that's a dirt chassis, would that be for running if we decide to bring Knoxville or another dirt track to the Maverick Cup series, or like Springfield or DeQuine?
yep, yeah, so if you ran, so a lot of dirt tracks are made with chassis 3, which they run great with chassis 3. But if you wanted to change how they drive a little bit, what you do is you run chassis 0, and you take whatever setup you have, and you take the weight and you move all the weight to the front, and then it'll allow you to, the only way to turn the car will be to be on the gas, and you'll have to counter steer a little bit, and you'll see the more experienced guys will have a good knack of like drifting their way through the corner in a way, like they'll have a good skew to the car, so it'll look like real dirt racing. But chassis 3, you can get that as well. It's just they don't skew out as much as they do in 0.
And it would open up the series cup, that is, to a whole new set of drivers if we ran a dirt race.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The thing about dirt is the guys on keyboard and controller tend to do very well on dirt because dirt on an R is really weird. It's actually better to have less degrees of rotation. So since keyboard is just a key, and your controller guys, they just have the little joystick. It's easier for them to be fast because all you really have to do on dirt, and I make it sound easy, but you basically got to go in, turn as hard as you can turning in while being off the gas, and then you want to like slam the gas all the way down and turn the wheel back straight, and then you kind of just control the drift coming out of the corner. The key with the wheel though is you don't want to necessarily turn to the right. You just want to kind of control the drift, turn as little to the left or hold the wheel straight, and you carry most of your momentum off the corner. If you turn to the right, you'll still carry some momentum off, but you might, you're turning to the right, so the right front starts to drag a little bit, and it hurts your exit by like maybe half a tenth or so. But
Yep.
there are guys that can do it on wheel. I've figured out how to do it with my wheel settings, so
Yep.
I've
I'll
figured
have to
out how to
try
be
and
fast on the dirt.
figure it out. If we decide to add Knoxville or Springfield and DeQuine to the schedule in the future, we might bring out some dirt ringers.
Yeah, Springfield's really fun. Fulton's really fun. There's the Charlotte dirt track that Area 23 did. I think it's up on the website, or it's supposed to be, but that track's really fun too. There's a couple of fun ones out there, and you can run them in
Yeah,
in 3 or 0. They're fun in both.
but I'd love to have. I think I found a Knoxville track. I'd love to have a Springfield or DuQuoin that can hold a full field.
Springfield holds a full field. The WKC one holds a full field.
Nice. So I'll have to look into that. Because we've considered adding dirt for a while.
Yeah,
We've
I would
talked about it.
recommend Springfield, but I know even though DuQuoin doesn't hold the full 42 car field, I have heard of a lot of leagues running DuQuoin. So
Yeah, because I've thought about making those a package deal because, of course, ARCA runs them both and they're very similar. But we could
hmm
just do Springfield, and
you could
that way
also
we have a dirt
have
track.
Tate just add pit stalls to DuQuoin if you need more. I think it
Yep,
holds
but we're
37. I'm not sure.
yeah, but 'cause there'd probably be some dirt ringers that want to show up to those tracks if we ran them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, what are so you run a little iRacing. So, what's that about? What do you do on iRacing generally?
Road courses, like I love running the MX-5. Some of the GT and touring cars are just really fun to drive.
What's your favorite car on iRacing drive? I know you mentioned tracks, so maybe is it the Miata or is it something else?
It's the Miata at Lime Rock because I actually won a race on iRacing
Really?
um, back in July of 2022. I won. I had 0 incident points. All the leaders wrecked in front of me, and I was able to avoid the wreckage and lead. I technically led every lap.
They wrecked on lap 1?
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Wow. That's crazy.
Um,
Yeah, they're
Forget how
fun
far
little
back I
cars.
started. Yeah, but those are super fun to drive. Um, and the GT and touring cars are fun to drive on some tracks as well. Like I've driven them at a few different tracks. Laguna Seca is a fun one to drive. I actually visited Laguna Seca back in 2023.
Nice. Now let's talk a little bit about some real life stuff with racing. How many so you got to visit Laguna Seca. Any other tracks you've gotten to visit?
That same trip to California, I also visited Sonoma. I visited Indy back in 2021, and I got to kiss the bricks.
Hey, there we go. That's cool.
I have not had, um, well, let me put it this way. I would say the bricks are my first kiss.
That's funny. That's funny right there,
Well,
man.
yeah.
Have you met anybody from the community online?
Well, I met Zach Webster at the Pensacola ARCA race when I went in 2019. But that's about it. Well, I live with one person I race with.
That's true. Yeah, can't deny that.
Yep. Yes, and I I help him with getting all the tracks downloaded typically and car files and all that stuff. I help him if he has technical difficulties.
Nice. Yeah, that's good of you. Yeah, some of the
And so,
even my father, sometimes he has problems with the computer. Got to help him out, We grew up with it, so we're a little more versed.
yep. Um, like, and so we have a 3-level house, and so I race in the middle level in the living room, and then, uh, my dad races in his office on the bottom level that he used when he was working full time.
Okay. Your father retired now?
He's not actively working.
Oh,
He's
okay.
been going through some health stuff, and he had to continue taking leave, and it's ultimately this has been how he spends his Tuesday nights.
Well, I hope he can get healthy soon, get back to work as soon as he likes to, and health problems are never fun. I've got
Or
my fair share too of family, they got stuff going on, so I get it. It's tough.
yep,
Just
or
keep
not, and um, well, if he wants to retire from work, um, but that means I get to spend more time with him.
Right.
He's basically retired at this point.
I gotcha. Yeah, you don't have to go
And
too
that was
far into
actually
it.
a second
Too.
career for him because before I was born, he served our country in the U.S. Air Force.
Oh, okay. So a veteran. Nice. Yeah.
Yes, that's how I wound up in Northwest Florida. He retired from Megland.
Okay. Um,
But
any other military members in the family?
I have an uncle who served in Vietnam on my mom's side, and then my maternal grandfather, who is unfortunately uh, not around. He was gone before I was born. He served in World War II.
Oh wow. So old time, long time ago.
Yes, but my dad never really went to war. He was active during Operation Desert Storm, but uh, and believe it or not, I was not born in the Panhandle. I was actually right after my dad retired from the military. My maternal grandmother, who also died before I was born, she was fighting colon cancer, and so my parents were taking care of her. So they were going back and forth between the Panhandle and um, Bradenton, and so I was born in Sarasota,
Okay, interesting.
which I know we have a driver from Sarasota,
Which driver is that?
Dylan Young.
Oh, that's right. Yep, D. Young's from Sarasota, or lives in Sarasota.
Yep, and it's great to see Florida with so much representation. Only state I've lived in. There's
My mother and stepfather live in Florida now. They've been down there, I think, 2 years now.
We're in Florida.
Ocala.
Oh, nice. That's not far from where my university's campus is.
Nice.
Because I go to UF, I take online courses.
Um. Well, so any other NR stuff you would like to talk about here on the show that I have not covered?
Absolutely. Do you have any ideas that we've come up with that you really like that we've used for the series?
Ideas like a race package or like a race like a track use, something like that.
Or just general ideas that have helped make the league look more exciting?
Hmm. I'm not sure I've ever really thought about it. Um,
Like, I've come up with ideas that I've seen over the years. I know Tyler Stallhood uh, got upset because I used the JC style results um, graphics back in 2024, but um,
really.
I'm now able to race in fuel again, and um, we've worked together. We bounce ideas off of each other, but
Yeah,
I've seen
Tyler's got some pretty off the wall ideas that he can come up with and he'll throw out there, see what people think. Sometimes people like it. Sometimes people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" you know.
like
But that's the way
what
ideas go.
what ideas has he come up with?
I couldn't tell you. I don't. They go
But like some of the
and
other ideas I've seen, of course, we have our social media pages. We have our Facebook members group, our Discord server. We have a public Facebook page for the HVRL, and we're now getting an Instagram page off the ground, and we're going to be
ooh,
posting there race updates. We're going to be posting schedules. We're going to be posting like the winners. Typically, we'll get a. I'm gonna have somebody getting the screenshot each week of the for Cup. I'll do it myself for the lower series, but for Cup, I'm gonna try and get somebody to do a screenshot of the winning driver crossing the start finish line and then the burnouts.
nice.
And so that gets posted on our pages. Because I'm hoping we can find some people to do some good screenshots. We had somebody do them for a couple races last year.
I did one for you too. Road America.
In 2024, we had one of the South American guys did them for a couple of the road courses.
Oh, nice.
They were really good. You should see them in the Facebook group.
I'll have to go take a look
Yeah,
after
the
our
guy's name is
episode.
Vicente Paras. Does really good screenshots.
Nice. Well,
from
respect.
Mexico City and Watkins Glen.
Well,
Now,
respect.
can
I
you repeat
love
the question?
love a good screenshot. Oh, I didn't ask a question, but I was just answering. Um,
Um,
how do you
but another
feel?
idea.
Or go ahead.
Hang on, finish your question.
I was gonna say, how are we feeling about the potential of a 3-man booth next year, full time? Have you talked with Blaine more
For
about it?
Yes, I know. We've got Brian Wolf coming on board for the 500.
Nice.
Um, Maybe Brad Leckman could possibly come back for Montreal.
Who's that?
The original Tarnation TV second announcer before Rod.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I was following Blaine's channel when he was on.
Yeah, but we've of course come up with. We're seeing what ideas work and what don't. I'm gonna try and get some cool renders done like I did this year for the 500. Maybe somebody else will do them and do some really cool renders for us that I'll post on our social media pages. And of course, one idea I took from, the ALS race that Kelly Causey does,
Yeah.
where he has a special grand marshal every year.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've done that every race this year.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
have a
Yeah,
question for you.
that's been a cool idea.
Yeah, I have a question. Who's your dream grand marshal?
Oh man. Um like someone who's done it or someone that I would just like to see do it.
Anybody you'd like to see do it?
I think someone with a lot of energy would be cool. There have been some guys that, they just go up there and they just say it. And then you get other guys that actually like they put in some energy to it and they're basically
They say
they're
it.
they're
They
kind
say
of
it with
yelling.
gusto.
Yeah, they're kind of yelling into the microphone, which is, pretty cool.
Like, who
I
comes to
think
mind?
I think if you get like a wrestler to do it or something, like maybe get John Cena out there to do it would be cool, or someone in the music scene who's used to screaming or yelling in their music, like a rock or hard rock artist. Corey Taylor would
Well,
be cool. So
now here's my dream grand marshal. Plain and simple. Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
He did it at the Coke 600 in 2017, and he said it with gusto. It's the best command I've ever heard. It ranks better than Kevin James because Channing said drivers. I require all of our grand marshals to say drivers.
Right. Yeah. You want to keep it neutral.
Yes, because you don't know from week to week how many female drivers you're going to have showing up. You could have 0, you could have 1, you could have a dozen female drivers trying to make the field.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You never know.
Not saying it's going to happen, but it could. Who's been your favorite grand marshal you've had this year?
Oh, I would give you one, but I don't know if I remember all of them. I've only tuned in here and there at the beginning of a broadcast. Generally, I'm tuning in when you're already in the midway of the race. I know the last 10 weeks before this previous week at Homestead, in the last 10 weeks, I would tune in around the middle because me and Andrew Miller were broadcasting Hobo. So I would check in if we had a bit of a lull in our race. I would tune in to Tarnation, see what was going on.
Yep, um, but I'd say the best one this year, we had Mike Betzler do it at Dover, and Brock Beard did it at Sonoma. Those were both really good.
Oh yeah, I remember the Brockbeard one from watching it back.
Yep. I'd planned that out. Like, I wanted to do something like that for the 500, but then I figured maybe Brock could do Sonoma, and then, of course, Uncle Dean did it for Las Vegas, which was Aunt Robin's memorial race. And so I thought, you know what? We should do this every week. I think we can get a lot of people interested in this. We've got a few that are returning next year. I think Brock's going to be back. But, like, if we actually managed to pull off getting somebody like Channing to say the command for the 500, it would change the series forever.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. They probably
Yeah.
want a little, they used to do the, how do you reach out to these people to get them to do it? Is it email or?
Well, I could tell you. I actually had a dream that I met Channing one time,
Oh, that's
and got
funny.
him to say the command.
That means you really want to
Yeah,
contact him for real to get him to do it.
yeah. Like I would love to see him do it. He would give it with gusto.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Uh, it would probably top his Coke 600 command from 2017.
Yeah, maybe you never know.
Yeah, I think he can do better because I know. I've talked with my dad about Grand Marshals, and he likes when they say, when they space out, start your engines.
Okay.
Whereas, whereas they, instead of drivers, start your engines, they say, drivers, start your engines. See how they were spaced out the second time?
Yes, yeah, that lets them give emphasis to each word. Yes, of course.
Yes, and well, Channing did the first way when he gave it, both at the Coke 600 and at the 2018 Arbor race. Um, but him being the Grand Marshal for the 500, I can only imagine entry lists for even the lower series, what they would look like.
Um, anything else for NR that you're thinking of right now?
Not really.
Okay. How about a little bit of music talk? What got you in the music?
I've just always loved listening to music.
What got you
Um,
into what was the first song you can remember here? And that might be a pretty tough question, but maybe first song you remember being your favorite that you like the first song you
well,
really liked.
Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts.
Okay. That was in the Cars movie, right? So that makes
Yep,
sense.
of course. But of course, Beach Boys had some really good ones. Of course, I used to be a surfer.
Oh,
I've
okay.
I've done some surfing. Another sport I'm big in is bowling.
Okay.
I'm an avid bowler. I my average is in the 160s, um, and it runs in my family. My brother-in-law has bowled a handful of 300s.
Nice. Those are tough to do. I only ever bowled a 300 on Wii Bowling.
I bowled a 299 on Wii Bowling once, but never a 300. I think I've gotten 298 a couple of times in the last year, but um, never gotten the 300.
I don't remember how many times I did it, but I remember I did it a few times. They were hard.
I've
It's
only
hard to
ever
do.
I've only ever witnessed one 300. It was back when I was a youth bowler in 2018 at the now closed White Sands in my hometown of Fort Walton Beach.
Nice.
I bowl because it's the only league I could get into that had a spot for me. I bowl in Destin on Thursday nights, but I've also bowled at Fort Walton, and then of course because I have uh, military relatives, I've bowled at the Hobart Field Bowling Alley as well in leagues over the past years. But um, Hurricanes, where I've uh, been bowling since September. This is my first full season back since 2021. I subbed last season at Hurricane and Fort Walton, but I now bowl at Hurricane full time, and um, I enjoy bowling there. Got a great team, great roster of bowlers. I've got my own equipment and everything too. Storm Products makes the best bowling equipment.
Okay. Have you tried different uh, brands of equipment for bowling before? To
Well, I
like
use
know that that brand is the best for you at least.
Well, Storm is used by Jason Belmonte, the best bowler in the world, and their balls also have fragrances. That's what drew me to them. This is something unique.
Yeah, yeah, unique for sure. How do the bowling balls have their own fragrances?
I don't know how they give them the smell. Like, I know I have one that smells like blueberry muffin, another smells like blackberry, and another. smells like lavender vanilla.
I wonder if they like stick like a oh, like almost like one of those like wall plug-in like inside the bowling ball maybe, and it just like the scent is just like in there like in some kind of form or shape, and it just like ekes out of the bowl. And I don't know, like
No, I
there's
know
probably an
the
explanation of it somewhere.
you'll have to look it up. How does Storm put the fragrances into their bowling balls?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would never think anyone would want
Yep, and
their
the only
bowling
ones
ball
that
to
don't
smell
have
like something.
fragrances are polyester, which are used for picking up difficult spares.
Oh, okay. So I never
Uh,
knew that about bowling, that there was like a
Different.
specific type of ball you would want for a
There's
spare.
polyester, and then but the ones that they sell, the ones that the alley provides, the house balls are all polyester. But a lot of the ones they sell, like personal equipment, are made of reactive resin, which allows the ball to hook on its own.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Um, and also, uh, there's different ways the ball hooks. There's
Can you
some have more
explain them?
rounded hook, some have a more sharp hook.
What's the best hook for a strike?
It doesn't matter. You just want to throw it in the right position and get the ball into the pocket between the 1 and the 3 pins, or if you're left-handed, the 1 and 2.
Okay. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed. I actually, my bowling ball only has 2 finger holes because I roll the ball two-handed. I use both hands to roll the ball. I use the shovel style approach Jason Belmonte uses,
Okay.
and I don't put my thumb in the ball.
Hmm. Interesting.
So we were talking about music earlier. I got into surfing. I was part of a community organization that did surfing events, um, and I've volunteered with that organization. I've been part of that group for over 10 years, and so I would listen to some of the Beach Boys songs, and I've also recently listened to other classic rock artists, Eagles, Toto, Doobie Brothers, and they've got some really good songs. Another place I get my music playlist from, I sometimes will go through some performances from Dancing with the Stars, which Michael Waltrip was on a number of years ago, and that gives me some fodder for my drumming.
Okay. That's a cool source. That, probably a more unique one.
Yeah, and I actually performed in a show locally called Dancing with Desire, and back in 2015, I was invited to perform uh, a local organization, and they introduced me as they had my name misspelt, and Maxim Chmerkovsky was there. The Dancing with the Stars pro introduced me as Benjamin Cinder.
Oops.
I didn't say anything. I was happy to be there.
That's good.
Yep. And so I've focused mostly on my drumming since late 2010s. I've been trained by multiple different instructors because, of course, some instructors have left the area.
That's unfortunate.
They moved out of the state. Well, I know at least one did, and I think another one moved to another part of a city. And plus, I often had uh, appointments I had to go to in Pensacola, and so uh, when when my when stuff got changed around, I switched instructors. Um, but I mostly do it on my own time.
Have you ever thought
Um,
about speaking of Pensacola, have you ever thought about running a race at the fictional Pensacola Superspeedway?
no, we don't do fictional tracks. We did do an off-season Christmas race once at Five Flags back in 2021,
Ooh.
which is my local short track.
Five Flags is a fun little track.
It is. Went there for the ARCA race, like I said earlier. Um,
Any
I'm
other?
also
Oh, nope. Go ahead. You go ahead.
any other what?
I was gonna say any other things you want to talk about, but I don't want to cut off your train of thought. So
Well, I was about to talk about snow skiing because I'm also an avid snow skier,
okay,
and I've been involved with the National Ability Center. They work with people with disabilities. Like I'm on the spectrum, and um, they also work with people with spina bifida, like fellow racer Quentin Moore has spina bifida, and he's amazing. They work with wounded warriors,
nice. That's cool of them.
and so that's how I got invited to be in Dancing with Desires, representing a autism organization, along with a local singer who's also on the spectrum.
What's uh what's one of the coolest events you've been invited to do? I know you've mentioned a
Probably
few,
that
so probably that one, the Dancing with
Dancing with
Desire.
Desire.
Okay.
Um, I did a bowling tournament when I was a youth bowler in 2021 across the state, and I was pretty inconsistent that day. There was a 100-point difference between my best and worst game, and my best game was a 247. I averaged 199 for the tournament, I believe.
Okay. Is that like good, or is that like just like
That's
fine?
I was in the top 100 in my age bracket for that tournament,
Okay, nice.
just 17 years old, and that was just weeks after getting the first Maverick Cup Series race ever held.
Oh, what great timing, huh?
Because I've been involved in a lot of different things, um, and of course, I was talking about snow skiing. I've been the only mountain I've skied on the West Coast is Park City. I've never been up to New England. I'd love to ski Colorado one day. And you're going down the slopes, kind of in like driving down the S's of Sonoma. And I was thinking of that when looking at the S's of Sonoma. It's like going down the ski slopes.
Right. I saw a skiing video recently. They had a Red Bull athlete skied down Mount Everest after climbing it. Did you get
Wow,
to see that video? You might want to look that up after. Yeah, it's
I'll
pretty
have to look
interesting.
that up. So
It's not like a
and
continuous ski, obviously, because of the air quality and all the risks and then stuff. But like
but part of it,
he skied down most of it that had snow on it.
nice. I'll have to look at that. Pretty cool. So
As a
we've covered a lot of things. We've covered my uh, of course, the fine arts with like the being involved as a musician and having performed at Dancing with Desire. We've talked about my sim racing career. We talked about bowling, skiing, my involvement with the Autism Surfs organization. That's the surfing group I was with, and I've been part of that. I've known the guy who runs it because I went to school with his daughter back when I was in elementary, and that's how I found out about in part, how I knew about the organization.
nice, yeah,
And so
connections.
yep. And of course, another thing I'm involved in now is live reality games. I've done a few of those. The Survivor style events.
Okay,
Yep, I went down, did one in Orlando a couple years ago. It was more Big Brother Survivor hybrid because it was indoors. I did one at University of Florida last year, and I did one in Colorado this year. And I've had a great time at all of them. The one in Colorado is coming out on YouTube next year. So you'll see how I placed when it comes out on YouTube.
all right, yeah, you'll have to send me a link to check it out.
And Rockledge Studios, who runs Survivor Colorado, they're the group behind it. They're an indie film company. Maybe they could help get some people in Maverick West.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be pretty cool. I've talked with Alex, who hosts Alex Johnson, who hosts Survivor Colorado, about possibly getting some people to run that. One of the other production members in the Facebook group.
All right, on. Well, hopefully you can get maybe a couple more people interested.
Yep, we want to build the lower series up to getting maybe about 15 drivers each, and then Cup, of course, full fields every week.
That's hard to do. Hard to do in the
We,
market right now.
well, last year we had almost half the races get DNQs.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah. Interest seems to come and go, but as it goes, just remember that it could always come back a little bit.
Yep, I'd say the year where we often got the lowest cars either the first year when we were on Monday nights temporarily, or the Tuesday night wars.
Right. And ISRL is more of an iRacing thing now on Tuesday night, so you don't have to worry about
Yeah,
them. And obviously, uh,
Fake Maverick is folded.
fake Maverick folded. Yep.
Yep, and their logo was stupid. It is an M with a like a Maverick plane next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the logo looked stupid. Matched the rest of the league. It was like a ripoff.
Rip off. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but um, I've had a blast being on here tonight.
Have you? All right. I'm glad to hear it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear it. You're gonna love it when you listen back because, the great thing about recording a podcast is, of course, you can edit out all the little moments where you got to pause to think, right? Like I gotta let you think. Sometimes it's easier for some people to
Yep.
just instantly respond and give you an answer. Sometimes you got to think, you got to stop for a few seconds, and that's the power of editing. We cut that silence out so you can listen to it back and it's all nice and continuous, right?
Nice. This has been a great long conversation we've had.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I've had a great time. So, since if you have nothing else you'd like to talk about, if you do, let me know. But if not, feel free to shout anybody out that you'd like.
I'd like to shout my family. I'd like to shout out uh the HVRL Maverick Cup Series. I'd like to shout Autism Surfs, National Ability Center. I'd like to shout out the Dancing with the Stars pros that I've met. Tony Dovolani, Maxim Tmerkovsky, Val Tmerkovsky, Jenna Johnson, Emma Slater, Sasha Farber, Dimitri Chaplin, Lacey Schwimmer. Had the pleasure to meet all of them. I've also like to shout out to Al Jardine and the Pet Sounds Band. Going to be seeing them in concert right before the Fun Coast 500. Founding member of the Beach Boys. Um, and I'd like to shout out everybody at Live Reality Games.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben. Thanks for coming on Who's That Driver. This was episode 28. I was your host, Zach Rogers, and I'll probably be an off week next weekend. It's Thanksgiving week next week, so a lot of people are going to be traveling. Going to probably be difficult to get anybody set in stone for an episode, so we'll just take the week off. We've had a pretty
Yep.
good run here the last few weeks getting continuous episodes out, so we'll take a week off and we'll see who we can maybe get for the next weekend. And we're getting towards the end of this year, so maybe we'll get a few people to come on. We can talk about the whole year and review not just sim racing, but maybe some real life stuff and obviously holidays to look forward to.
The big one is New Year's.
New
Because we do a
Year's.
big New Year's. My family does a big New Year's production where I lower a ball and it gets posted to social media.
Nice.
Just like Times Square. You'll see it when it comes out on 1 January.
Okay. I'll have to look out
It's
for
going to look
that.
amazing.
All
Yep.
right, Ben. Well, you have a great night. Thank you for joining me on Who's That
You
Driver,
too.
and thank you to all our great listeners for checking out this episode. Yeah, that's all I got. So have a great night.